It's time for another match, and what I got for you today is a Platinum versus a Gold League player in Terran versus Protoss. Spawning here in the bottom right corner of Interloper LE, playing with the blue SCVs, and currently in Platinum League, he goes by the nickname of Fire Squid. Now his opponent just said apparently, I picked Protoss on accident? I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be, but regardless, that of course makes Nuke, the player in the top left corner of the map, playing with the red Protoss pieces, indeed, the Gold League player in this game. And actually, Fire Squid just said, I am off racing as well. So even though both of these... Oh my god, I actually did not notice that there were 3 probes already moving across the map. Even though both of these guys are in Gold League and Platinum League respectively, apparently they may not necessarily be doing so with their races right now in this particular match, as well as, you know, in 1 versus 1 necessarily. Anyway, Nuke, I mean, he accidentally picked Protoss apparently. And he's like, well, what am I gonna do to try and make this better? Now, interestingly enough, he doesn't have a forge. So even though I've seen a lot... Nuke, what are you doing? What's your plan here? Are you trying to do a cannon rush without cannons? Oh no, you gotta build a gateway. Alright. I feel like if you're gonna do a gateway proxy, you may as well put it right here, just so your opponent doesn't see it from second number 1. Sadly, that one probe right there does get caught by the SCVs as well, and while second gateway eventually goes down here too, and Nuke does look like he's gonna at the very least finish this up for now, because the SCVs have left him alone here, other than the 2 here that are currently chasing down the single probe. No! Everything is looking quite clean. Now, of course, this is going to be a viewer submitted match. If you've got a crazy... Did they actually get... Oh my god, they actually got a kill. How does that even work? These 2 hero SCVs. One of them got 2 kills and the other one got 1. That's wild for 2 SCVs at the 1 minute mark. That's insane. Anyway, in case you have a crazy game yourself as well, you can go ahead and submit it to replays at LowkoTV, because of course, this is going to be a viewer submitted replay. I have no clue what to expect from this one though, as of course Nuke and Modlisis are the ones that actually have a look at these replays before I end up casting them, and both of them mentioned that this one is a lot of fun. Already though, little bit of a weird setup, right? You can see that neither of these players are actually feeling very confident playing these races at all. I mean, for example, we only just now see a refinery going down, whereas the Protoss player decided to proxy, but it's almost like he forgot what to proxy there initially. First Zealot, however, is gonna come out here, but there's already a bunker on the high ground, and he's gonna have to slice his way through a few of the supply depots if he plans on getting into that base. So I wonder exactly what Nuke has got in store for us here, because while it looked a lot like he was gonna go for some sort of cheese in the early game, like, for example, you know, a photon cannon rush, in this particular match so far, really not seeing anything along those lines just yet, and he's just got a bunch of gateways right outside of the natural. I think that, considering he accidentally picked Protoss, right, and he didn't really mean of queuing up a ladder game with the Protoss pieces, he's probably just planning to get this match over with as soon as he possibly can. That's the only thing that really makes sense. Now, Fire Squid, really forced to be in a very defensive position so far. He's gonna pull about 1 billion SCVs just to repair against apparently 2 Zealots. There you go. He's gonna send the majority of them back. 1 mule as well, pulled off the line. Cost him a couple hundred resources right there just to pull those SCVs. But all things considered, he deflected the aggression for now. Third barracks also going up. That does mean, of course, that Fire Squid is going to be able to produce quite a few units. Although he just now figured out that the Marines on the high ground are going to be in range of that pylon, meaning that these gateways are soon going to be underpowered. Now, there's also a depth right there in the back now, so that means that the SCVs are not going to quite be able to repair that without getting hit themselves as well. I think you're going to have to go after that supply depot, my man. I think you're going to have to... Oh my god, did he just really... Oh my... Okay, so he just let all of those units inside of the base. Now, truth be told, there's not really all that much, and Nuke is also remaking that single pylon, so he can go ahead and power this for a little while longer. And at this point, really, like, there's still a ton of... he's trying Stutter Step Micro right there. There's still a ton of Marines out, right? Single Adepto shading to the back of that mineral line, and he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage. Nuke actually doing a solid job, everything considered so far, even though it doesn't really make a lot of sense to put these gateways over there. I do think he's making all the right moves, but at this point, I think that indeed... giving up on this pressure here, or maybe making some more units, but mostly giving up on it right now and making that natural expansion is the way to go. In particular, once you know that your opponent is going to be contained. There's a Mothership Core now hanging out as well inside of that main base, so he's going to be rather defended as well if there is going to be a Liberator that, for example, flies across the map or any other kind of early game pressure here from the Terran player. Now that the single pylon is shut down, the Marines feel a little bit more confident, so they're going to try and make their way down that ramp One of them, however, immediately ends up dying. Second one also takes a lot of damage, but with a couple of blood splatters on the ground, it really doesn't bother the Terran player all too much. Because let's be honest, even though that's maybe a little bit of a mean thing to say, Marines are rather replaceable. I mean, it's not a very nice thing to say, but they are rather replaceable. Now, we do see that switch to the siege tank. I actually play, or rather to factory right here. I was gonna say, I think either siege tanks or cyclones is going to be a great option. Cyclones are very, very powerful in these kind of scenarios, although most of the lower league games, I mean, they're pretty much always going to be siege tank heavy. Stimpack actually just about to finish up here as well, which is very nice. And now with the Marauders and the Marines out, I think that this aggression will get shut down reasonably easily. Although now that the Mothership Core is also across the map, Nuke, even though... yeah, Nuke is going to be able to like float and overcharge these pylons, but really, how is he planning on closing out this game? Second base is now also done. There we go. He needs to be careful. I don't think he can take that engagement, my man. You're going to have to back off. A Mothership Core, of course, a unit soon to be of the past, or soon to be in the past of StarCraft, as in the next patch they are planning on removing the Mothership Core and adding a couple of other defensive early game capabilities to the Protoss arsenal. It's very powerful as it is right now, though. It can easily kill like 40 supply worth of army throughout the entirety of the game. But regardless, Protoss right now is going for that switch. He's getting the double forge here, which is quite surprising. I guess that he's planning on going for a bunch of upgrades here very shortly. Shades once again of those adept moving up the ramp, but more importantly, he's getting himself that Stargate as well. And the Stargate will be incredible for dealing a little bit of damage on the other side of the map. And Nuke really, like, I think that his plan at this point is just to go ahead and contain his opponent and just not let him leave the base. Which I don't really know if that's going to happen. And by the way, we do need to see that siege tank going out now. I think the siege tank is a pretty smart choice. Just because you can put it right over there, for example. You can still deal a lot of damage. All things considered, though, Fire Squid's army is starting to look rather menacing already. And even though there's going to be 2 photon overcharges available by the time that this push heads down the ramp. Did he just lift? Yes, he just did. Oh, he's doing the lift up? The lift up? Okay, now he's gonna try and land it somewhere else. I actually really do like this move. Now, the 2 SCVs that previously got some kills here, they are, of course, gonna be on a bit of a break for the time being. I mean, you can't just pretend that they're gonna be able to work all this time, right? They already did a little bit of fighting. Now, a single probe is once again tasing them a little bit more, but the 2 hero SCVs that previously killed a bunch of them probes already are once again going to town, although they're getting awfully close now in range of the rest of these Protoss units. And indeed, both of them, they end up dying. Now, the Marines and the Marauders, though, are trying to make their way down that ramp. 1 photon overcharge does get activated, but at this point, I mean, that siege tank has been dealing a little bit of damage already. Protoss realizing that this push is going to be on a timer, and these adepts will be able to shade inside of that mineral line. I would love to see another stim right now, because I think he's going to have to try and clean those units up without taking any kinds of crucial losses. At this time, though, the siege tank will be able to deal damage to the gateways here at the front, and I think that the early game cheese of the Protoss player has been deflected. But the question is Fire Squid at this point really ahead in the game? I mean, truth be told, there's a natural expansion here for Nuke. He's doing all the right things here, going even up to Phoenixes right now, and he's also got a Dark Shrine coming in. So Nuke really playing a very gas-heavy army. At the same time, though, the first Oracle has made its way across the map. I'm pretty sure that this has been unscouted so far, because all of the Terran units are indeed moving down towards that natural to try and clean up the last of these buildings. And actually, this single Oracle is getting an awful lot of kills already. Look at that. A lot of damage is being dealt here by the Oracle. It will be able to, at the very least, pick up 10 kills, which is very substantial. And all of a sudden, Nuke, even though he wasn't looking particularly healthy, I like this move into the 3rd Nexus a lot as well. He's looking extremely powerful, and he's not quite done just yet. Look at that. The Hero Oracle picking up 14 or 15 kills already, going for his 16th kill in that mule as well. And all of a sudden, Nuke is completely back into this game. Even though his early game pressure did get shut down, he's going to be capable of continuing this game just fine. Now, he's going for that Dark Shrine. He's going for a couple of upgrades right now as well. I was gonna say, like, this is one of my StarCraft 2 pet peeves. I don't even know if that's a thing, but whenever players get buildings that they don't really make use of for, like, minutes into it, it always grinds my gears just a little bit. But Nuke, he's gonna go ahead and continue onwards with this, like, Phoenix, Oracle, Dark Templar composition. It's almost like he opened up, like, the Protoss Book of Cheese and read the most annoying passages there for the Terran players. Like, what is the worst strategy Terran players can face, right? Let it be Cheese, let it be Phoenixes, let it be Oracle Harass, let it be Zealot run-bys, and let it be a couple of Dark Templar, right? He's going, what are you doing? You got attack movement, man. You gotta kill that. Now, at the same time, the two Zealots are still going to town. They're dealing quite a bit of damage here, actually. Zealots, of course, very powerful now that they are indeed capable of closing that distance a little bit easier. But here's a Dark Templar, right? And Dark Templars are going to be very good. Now, there is indeed a scan available. So I like this move a lot as well on the Dark Templar to just simply go ahead and get him out of there. But at this point, I mean, Nuke is doing a pretty solid job at just simply setting up this advantage that he has secured here. And even though he's currently behind in the supply count, he is doing a great job at cleaning up a lot of this. Like, look at that. If you try and move across here, the Stasis Ward is definitely going to pick up a bunch of these armies. Now, I think that he may be able to get that missile turret there just in the nick of time, so his scan will be forced. Another 300 minerals lost right there, and that Dark Templar easily paid for itself. Easily paid for itself. Oracle is going to go back in. It's going to be able to pick up a couple more kills. I would love to see the kill on that mule there. That's a lot of damage. Now, all things considered, though, even though a lot of these units once again get caught, right? All things considered, Fire Squid has done a pretty solid job at just simply producing a lot of army. He's getting himself the +1 infantry weapons upgrades, and he's got a lot of production here as well, although he's not really producing a whole lot at this point. Once he starts producing... What are you doing? Once he starts producing stuff, he's going to be able to bring this money down very, very quickly. Now, Nuke, he's currently sitting at 39 workers, and he's going for his 4th Nexus. I think this is going to be a little bit excessive. He is now also getting the Dark Templar Blink upgrade and going for that Templar Archives. He's really taking a page out of the most annoying Protoss strategies that you can play, isn't it? Like, this is kind of insane. Like, he's really going for a strategy that is as annoying as it possibly can be. Now, that scan was a little bit preemptive. Dark Templar should be able to walk on out of there just fine. Well, I mean, I was gonna say, you do have to stand on the edge of glory there, but once again, they're gonna be able to slice and dice a lot of these units up, and it actually hurts quite a bit. There we go. Couple of Marines now also get killed once more by that Oracle. Oracle already up to 19 kills. Although right now it's getting a little bit greedy and it's fighting on top of the missile turret. But that was still 19 kills in total. At the same time, though, 2 medevacs full of units made their way across the map. Dark Templars coming in for the rescue, a couple of Zealots as well, but all of a sudden, the economy that was here previously for the Protoss player just absolutely got demolished in a matter of seconds. Very nice play there by Fire Squid, making sure that he's going to be capable of getting across the map and dealing the damage here. Very nicely done. Splitting up the army is always one of the more tricky things to do, but I do think that indeed it was the correct one here, and even though he had a scan, Dark Templars still do a lot of damage, and look at that. Ugh. Slicing those Marauders in 2 pieces. Now, even though there's like a nexus here in the middle of the map, right? Which I don't quite understand. And there's one at the third as well. There's really not enough workers. I would love to see a focus right now on probes. Probes and pylons, and get that money low. I think that if Nuke goes ahead and does exactly that, he's going to be able to push this advantage even more so. At the same time, though, we can really say the exact same here for Fire Squid. Now, he, of course, does have mules mining, which makes the whole Terran economy situation a whole lot easier, because if you drop those occasionally, you're still going to have a lot of income. But I'm starting to get a little bit worried here, right? Fire Squid is getting already up to 2,000 resources at this point in the game. That's a little bit much. If you were capable of spending that right now, and let's be honest, he's got the supply available, and he's also got the unit producing structures to go ahead and do so. If he spends that money, he's going to be in an extremely good position, but Protoss just keeps warping in, and... You know, even though both of them are floating a little bit, I think that Nuke is doing a bit of a better job spending his resources so far. Plus, on top of that, he's going for a really powerful unit composition, right? Here's one thing, though, that we do know about Terran Bio, and that is once it finishes up 1-1 upgrades, or any upgrades in general, like, for example, Combat Shield and Stimpak, it gets extremely strong. It gets very powerful. You need to group up your units together if you plan on taking all of this out. Now, so far, the Zealots are doing a good job, actually, at killing a whole lot of these units already. Not really a whole lot of micro coming out of the Terran player there. Losing a bunch of the units. Actually, these Zealots did way more there than they were supposed to do. I think with a bit of a little bit of stutter step micro, Fire Squid would have been able to clean that one up. And actually, they may very well end up getting the command center as well, and they do finish the job there while posturing for just a split second. Phoenix is still moving across the map. And actually, I really like the way that both of these guys are approaching it, though. Not really taking any unnecessary risks here. Not using the all-army hotkey group, which is very nice. Giving them the opportunity to make little run-bys like this and be constantly aggressive. Like, constantly be aggressive here on the map. I really like that. If you're one of the players that uses the all-army hotkey all the time to move around your army, you're gonna be stuck at some point because it's gonna be very difficult to try and maneuver across the map. Now here's a drop though, going towards that central nexus that really hasn't done anything throughout this entire game. I mean, it's mined some resources here and there. Dark Templar, however, once again on the ground. The Phoenixes are coming in the air as well, and this is almost like Corsair Dark Templar from Brood War, where it's like surprisingly powerful to go ahead and run a composition like this, right? Like the Phoenixes push away all of those air units, and the Dark Templar can clean up most of the other stuff. Now there are a lot of scans available. Fire Squid has done a solid job at defending it thus far, but there we go. We do see the Dark Templar blink coming out, being capable of just simply escaping there in a nick of time without any lost resources. Bunch of idle SCVs there, sadly here for the Terran player. Makes him think like he's doing a much better job at macroing, because he's not really flooding nearly as much anymore, but that's just due to the fact that he's got like, I don't know, roughly 10 or 15 or so idle SCVs. At the same time though, Nuke really doesn't have enough probes here either. I would really love to see, like from both of these players, it's one of the bases, right, for StarCraft 2. While all the army compositions and the aggression and whatnot are nice, if you're trying to slow down your opponent's economy, you better make sure that you got your own economy ready to go, right? Because at this point, like, both of them just simply don't have a whole lot. I think he's gonna try and blink across. Can you blink across here? Oh, you can! You can indeed blink across. Now there is going to be a missile turret there, so the detection is it's going to be available here for the Terran player. Now, is there enough Terran though to clean this one up? I think he's going to have to try and get on out of there once again. I don't know exactly how long the blink is going to be off cooldown for. I think you need to get on out of there, sir. You got to blink across. I think it's a rather long cooldown, huh? There we go. What if the blink Dark Templar do manage to get on out of there? They do live to tell the tale, and he will be able to, you know, tell his Tal'Darim brethren that everything is not quite right. Now, a lot of High Templar are actually being morphed in at this point, and there's also, or warped in rather, there's also 2 more Nexi going up here on the map. Nuke, you got 38 workers. You got like 6 Nexi at this point. Now, one of them is mined out, but you really do not have even remotely enough to properly support all of this. Just simply get onto your gateway game. There we go. Make a lot of core units, get upgrades, and spend your probes. Make your probes and make some pylons. I think it's the correct way to go. Now, Terran, right? He's starting to get a really menacing force. There's now also 4 medevacs moving across the map. He's going to be able to pick up this one for sure. Two landed Vikings loaded up into those medevacs, because that seemed like a proper, you know, he's going to see something to take. That seemed like a proper use of space right there. Landed Vikings can indeed go into a medevac. There's a little bit of trivia right there, in case you ever get to play StarCraft 2 trivia for $1 million. And the last question is, can landed Vikings go into medevacs? The answer is yes. Terran is indeed going to make his way across. Now, I can't help but notice that these High Templar, they do not have Storm. They do not have Storm. They can't do anything. I was going to say, you got so many high energy Dark... No, you got so many high energy High Templar, but he hasn't researched Storm. What are you going to do? Feed back the medevacs? I think that could be a potential thing here. Looks like Terran for now, though, is just simply bypassing the base here in the middle of the map altogether. And actually, Terran, even though he was very far behind earlier into this game, there's no Storm available here. Really no proper way of closing this one out right now for the Protoss player. He's got Dark Templar, but the Dark Templar are only going to be good for so long. Energy has been saved up on those command centers for an extended period of time, so there will indeed be scans available here all the time. Couple of Marines trying to make their way past the supply depot, trying their very best. Another Dark Templar here on the ramp, but it will immediately get killed. And at this point, I'm starting to be a little bit worried here for... Oh, did he just feedback those medevacs? I think that was the sound of feedback going down. If he had Storm, actually, I think he would still have... Like, even if it's 26 versus 113 supply, I think with Storm, look at how juicy all of these Terran units look. They're clumping up together for the High Templar here, but all they can really do is either morph into Archons or just simply feedback a bunch of these medevacs. I mean, feedback it. There you go. Go on. Okay, not this one. This one's fine. Don't worry about it. That one was a nice guy. And he's desperately trying to continue onwards with the aggression here. Now, a single Viking is going to try and do a little bit of damage here too. Of course, he does get stasis there by the stasis ward. And I can't help but wonder, though, what would have happened here if Nuke was just simply going for a Storm upgrade here, a whole lot more probes, and just focus on some more core units like Zealots, Templar, you know, Stalkers, maybe a Sentry or two, like, you know, just the core units, and not all these tricks. I mean, the tricks worked out initially quite well, right? But at this point, I can't help but wonder if he went a little bit overboard here. And even though he's done a good job at keeping his money low, right? He never actually had enough workers to justify having this many bases. The High Templar do end up dying there without dealing any damage whatsoever. Looks like another feedback or two may have gone down on those medevacs, but that's really all that happened there. Nuke, however, is not done in this game just yet. He's putting up stasis wards. He's once again building a lot of gateways, and he's still got a base, I think, in the top right corner that has gone unscouted thus far. He's desperately trying to produce some probes right now, which he definitely does need. It's only, like, keep in mind, right, it's only 33 workers right now for he's just now getting stormed, look at that. It's only 33 workers here for the Terran player as well. Terran player, not even remotely enough units either. But I can't help but wonder and think that there is just simply not enough units here available for the Protoss player in red. He's done, you know, a solid job here harassing his opponent, opening up with that cheese, of course, going for the Blink Dark Templar, dealing a ton of damage with the Oracle harass as well, and really slowing down his opponent's economy, but he really didn't build up his own economy whatsoever, and in the end, it's 83 workers killed here for Fire Squid versus 33 for Nuke. The Vikings, though, are going to town. A couple more Vikings up in the air as well. They're going to be able to deal with any kind of hypothetical Colossi that could potentially come out. A single SCV apparently was sent forth as well to enter the stasis there. But now at this point, I mean, Nuke is desperately trying to hold on, right? He's seen how good cannons are. He looked at the size of this Protoss army, or this Terran army rather, and he realized that 2 photon cannons was going to be precisely enough. I'm actually getting a little bit worried here as well, though, for the Terran player. I mean, he really needs to get some more economy out, right? He's currently not found the base in the top right corner just yet, and if this could be the saving grace, that would be insanity. There's still quite a lot of powered structures out there, though. Look at that. The thing is, though, this is 129 supply, right? And there's, you know, sometimes StarCraft 2 is just a numbers game. It's 129 supply here, or 133 supply right now for the Terran player versus only 9 for the Protoss, and doesn't really matter how you change that number. It's not going to be any easier here unless you've got no scans available, no detection whatsoever. And actually, I say that, like, when you think about it from the Terran's point of view right now, right? What is the one thing that could kill him right now? It was gonna be Dark Templar, and he just spent all of his energy on those command centers, on those orbital commands, on mules. But interestingly enough, Fire Squid does end up obtaining the victory there. A back and forth Terran versus Protoss between 2 lower league players. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And like I said, if you've got a crazy game yourself, go ahead and submit it to replays at LowkoTV. Other than that, I want to thank you very much for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And we'll see you in the next one.